Welcome back, everybody. Back to Checkride Chat. Again, my name is Wally.
I'm Jason.
We're going to talk today that this is a bad analogy, but this is like a zit on the face of a teenager. You keep popping it, and it just keeps coming back, and it keeps coming back. And we are getting so much hate about this. We've been called idiots. We've been told we should be removed as DPEs. What are some of the other things that people have said about us?
All I know is it's your airplane, you're the PIC. All we're trying to do is remove, I guess you could say, some blinders to make you think a little bit outside the box and why you might want to not do what you've been doing. And what we're talking about, once again, apparently is fuel. Should you or should you not always top off? So that's the argument. Guys and girls are not liking the fact that we are saying maybe you shouldn't top off. Why are we saying that? So Wally kind of did some research. He looked through the comments, and according to something, what is it in the AIM, or what, it was just Shepherd Air, right?
This is Shepherd Air.
Questions.
This is a knowledge test question, and we got this from Shepherd Air. Now, disclaimer: this is on the commercial. This is the commercial knowledge test, not the private. But I
real quick, nothing again. It's not Shepherd Air. This is a knowledge question.
Yeah.
And it just so happens we saw it on Shepherd. Shepherd is just a repeat of the question
Right.
bank. So I love Shepherd Air.
Yeah.
But that's where we saw it. That was where we, I guess, found it first. So
Right.
there it is.
And this question is probably the same for private or very similar. So I'm going to throw the question up there on the screen. Here it is. Here's the question. It says, in a case where a pilot parks a plane that will not be actively flown, why should the pilot consider filling the fuel tanks? And the correct answer is to prevent water condensation from forming in the tanks. Now let's go back to the question. There are three parts to that question. First of all, actively flown. You're at a flight school. You're coming in, and the airplane is going to sit there for about, what are they, in between flights? They're 30 minutes.
Even if there's weather, a day,
Right.
maybe two,
Right.
that is still
Right.
actively flown.
Yes, I would say not actively flown is when the airplane is sitting there
30 days at a time.
Yeah, multiple
Easy.
days.
Yeah.
The other aspect of that is should.
So for those of you in any type of airline world or dealing with contracts, words matter. You've heard me say that before. Should and shall are two very, very different things.
Right. And our airline, our verbiage says, if the book says that you should do it, you need to have a compelling reason to not do it. Jason, I think you should shave your head.
There's a compelling reason absolutely not to do that.
But I think you should.
I don't really care.
Well,
because I've been there, done that.
okay.
So,
all right. So there we go. I told him he should do something, and he says no.
So but go back to the question. It says why should.
Right.
Why should. It doesn't say the pilot should. It says why should. So there's another built-in question on that also.
And the other word in the question is consider. Consider. Okay. I just landed, and I'll go back to the scenario with my Saratoga. You know, it has 6 seats. I cannot put six people in that airplane with full fuel. If I do that, we're going to be overweight. Okay, so that's why I don't fuel that airplane. When we land it and we put it in the hangar, I usually don't know what the next flight is going to be. I don't, I might know that, hey, in 2 days, 3 of us are going to go from here to wherever. I might know that, but most of the time I don't know that. So for that reason, I never fuel that airplane fully. I put 70 gallons, which is about 70% of capacity.
So let's go back. I think I would assume a lot of the people that disagree are flying your PA-28, whatever version, your Cessna 172, whatever version, et cetera, et cetera. with that being said, if you're only flying only ever alone, solo, or with an instructor or with one friend, no, weight is never going to be an issue. You never have to consider doing that, right? You don't have to consider that. The second you kind of get into, I don't know another way to put this, kind of the real world, and you have to start making decisions, it's not just an overweight thing. It's now I need to take more people or cargo, so now I have to get rid of fuel. It's also a performance aspect. So if you're flying multi-engine aircraft, that's a big deal too. Weight directly affects single-engine climb performance.
Yes.
Weight directly affects climb performance in any aircraft. It will even affect your climb performance in a 172. So I think one of my arguments back in the day was in Denver, these flight schools top off in between they can fly for 4 hours. Most lessons are you can fly for 5 hours. Most lessons are an hour and a half, maybe 2, meaning you can do one lesson, you're only down an hour and a half. That's 3.5 hours of gas. That's plenty of gas for you to go anywhere and do anything you want.
Right.
Even if you're going on a cross country somewhere, well, on the cross country, top off there. I guess the point is, why move 150 pounds when you don't have to? When in Denver in the summer, a good climb rate is 100 to 200 feet a minute.
Yes.
On a 172.
Yes.
If you can if maybe you can get to 300 to 400 feet a minute, I would absolutely want to do that.
Yeah.
And that was kind of, I guess you could say, the argument. Go backwards just a second. To prevent water condensation from forming in the tanks. Most of the people here, I get it. So again, it's for when it sits for long durations of times. There are fuel tanks from back in the day that are actually not wet wings. They're bladders, right? My first 182 was a bladder fuel. It was a bladder fuel tank. Yes, if you're going to sit if you have an extended amount of time, yes, you absolutely want to fill that up. Not for the condensation part. It was to keep the bladder from drying up and kind of deforming, right?
Right.
So, yeah, we understand the arguments, but the arguments, those aren't the arguments we're talking about. We're talking about, can you take your friends? Are you going to be overweight? Performance related. We had some people comment of, well, maybe there's weather I need to go around. If there's weather you're needing to go around in a single engine 172, maybe you don't need to be going.
Yeah.
This isn't. Not talking about it's IFR. How I interpret that means there is a line of storms.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be going in my 172. I would let that weather stop. So I would say that's a moot argument right there. I get it, but I know we're not going. That's potentially, a decision-making aspect at that point. So we can go on and on. There's pros and cons. We're not telling you not to. I would say if you want to top off, have at it. Please don't be overweight. Run your weight and balance.
Yeah.
But what we're saying is the one day you want to go take your 3 220-pound buddies with you, you're going to wish you didn't fill up because what are you going to do? Now you can't take that fourth person. Right? So we're just saying, let's use the word from the definition. Why should you consider maybe not going full tanks? That's what we're trying to tell you.
Yeah. We're just trying to get you to think. Trying to get you to think out of the box. And if I would say, a lot of people will say to me, what do you find as the biggest deficiency in private pilots today? I will say the inability to think out of the box.
So these questions, if a private's doing really, really well, I'll start to throw some weight and balance shifteroo questions around. What could you do? How can we fix it? How can we make it go? Those I would say are in my book. Those are, and I think Wally agrees, but it's typically reserved. This whole conversation is more commercial oriented. You're getting paid to fly a person A to B, and you're going to tell them you can't go because you're overweight because you topped off. I'm going to say you're going to get away with that once. And then they're going to talk to their buddies and said, Wally said we can't go.
Right.
get another pilot. And again, we're not saying do anything illegal, but if you can't figure out to not go topped off,
Yeah.
you're not gonna have a job very long.
Yeah. All right. Hopefully, gosh, I hope this subject goes to bed.
Or
I hope we don't talk
again,
about it.
we've said it the whole time. Why don't you email us directly with specific scenarios or comments,
Yeah.
and we'll reply to you.
Yeah.
But the banter back and forth in the comment box, we're not getting baited into that one. So,
Yeah.
but there's the haters. Go for it, right? And we love the people that love it, because you can see that for everybody that hates, there's another one that defends.
Yeah, yeah, and it is creating dialogue. People
Correct.
are talking
And
about it, so that's good.
Yes,
so that's good.
That's the takeaway.
So if you're on YouTube, hit like or subscribe down there. For those of you on other platforms, head over to YouTube, subscribe to us, tell your friends about us, and we'll see you next time.
Have a good one.